Hello and welcome to the next video of Paint Along with Rob, and it's kind of catch up from two. So this is going to be taking this chap to where this guy is. So some hair details, some kilt loincloth thing, saddle, and other little details that wraps around his arm and whatnot. I have just painted the sword arm with shadows and highlights for the flesh. Nearly forgot what I'd done, but fortunately somebody had recorded it, so I could check what colours I'd used, because it's never really consistent. I have done, so it's angry man shouting as he's charging forward, some nice little muscles under the arm, some good shadows and highlights on the shoulder. So yeah, we're going to take him to get him to this level, hopefully, but he doesn't have, we won't be doing the necklace because he doesn't have a necklace. So yeah, so this one here basically is, we are now going to go and do yeah, the hair. So the hair, I have given it a base coat, probably my favourite colour at the moment, brown black, from AK figure range, and just giving it a base coat. It's basically going to highlight it and give it some shape and form, because it's basically plaited hair together coming down. It's kind of a ropey back. So here, just going to be very quick, I'm going to take my this is the what I painted it in, so that's the brown black, and I'm going to add a little bit of this, which is brown sand, which is what I painted the flesh in. And there's also some light flesh there, which I can't, oh, it's over there. Yeah, also some light flesh, which was the highlight colour for the body, still on the palette from when I painted that. So I'm going to add a bit of a brown sand in, and a touch of light flesh. And all I'm going to do is just approximately just paint across the top of the head roughly, with the brush going in the direction of the sculpted hair bands and braids, or whatever we want to call that. We're not, and I don't take the brush all the way to the edge, so the dark brown still kind of forms a line. And I'm going to do the other side. I'm not trying to do the whole following every single not trying to paint every single hair, just the form and shape of that kind of coiled rolling thing, or rolled hair down his back. And on the back, where it's going down in a kind of ponytail, all I'm doing is doing it right on the top, so the sides don't really have any paint on them. And this can still be quite semi-dilute, so there's water on my brush, and when I've rinsed it and taken some water off on my tissue paper, so I'm now going to add just a little bit more of a light flesh in. But thin that down, that's quite thin relative, so you can see as that dries quickly, it's quite translucent. And now I'm just going to use that very carefully. Go over the same area I just did, but on a smaller zone, so in the middle of the stripy bit, or where the hair is pulled back from his crown. Key thing is just kind of suggesting what the hair is doing, as opposed to trying to notice. Also, I'm using my finger to support my brush where it's going into the supporting my finger so I can paint this carefully. It's kind of, you can still end up touching the miniature, which is why you kind of, like I say, starting from the top down means that you're gonna be less likely to be touching that later on, because at the moment my finger's only resting on primed areas. And this time, as I go down the back, I can see the sculpted on wrap effect, plaited effect, not entirely sure. And I'm just doing this even more in the middle now. And what I might do, just for the sake of this, take a little bit more flesh, thin that down even more. And now I'm going to just dot that. So I'm not trying to paint a line or anything, this is literally just dotting it in one or two areas. At the top, or in the middle of some of those plaits. So if the light is just catching it. So it's a suggestion of hair more than anything else. Now I'm going to take my brown black base colour and I'm going to thin that loads until it's virtually, this is just coloured water effectively. I'm going to glaze, so I'm not using this as a wash or anything. I'm just going to cover the whole. This is why you want it to be dirty water. Going to cover everything that I've done so far. And that will just soften the effect we've just done. You'll still see the effect. You could do 2 or 3 coats of that and it would all be good. But, cup of tea gulping sounds. So there you go. Right, next stage, what we're going to do, 10 minutes already, okay, is you can see at the side of his head on this guy, it's got a kind of shaved look. The same on that side. I'm going to try and do that. I say try and do that. I'm going to do that, said more positively, on this guy. Now the way we do that is I'm going to use some black green. Let's just link that now if anyone wanted to double check exactly what it was. But I will say that you can use any green, olive drabs, even blues for this if you wanted to. There isn't a set. It just needs to be a kind of a bluey green colour somewhere in that spectrum. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a tiny bit of that to that brown green or brown black again until I've got a bit of a darker green. I'm going to thin that right down, absolutely ridiculously thin. And then, because I don't know exactly how this will go on initially, I'm just going to paint that upwards, so I can get that in focus, from behind his ear to the hairline, which has been shaved. You can see there's a bit of that. You can just about make out that's now changed the tone of that. This isn't a thick layer. It's not a wash or anything. Again, it's just glazing this colour into that area. You could do that. This will be work for beards. This is the absolute classic 5 o'clock shadow technique. Observing people and how hairline works in people, and when people have shaved the backs of their heads or the side of their head, and ideally you want to get some coming down to where his beard would be. I'm not going to worry too much about trying to do a shaved beard effect for this guy. I just want to concentrate on the side of his head for our purposes here. Just keep going to each side until you think you like the level of effect. That's quite cool. Quite like that. In many ways, it's just a dirty colour. It's a suggestion about shaved head effect. So greens, blues, anything like that would work. And here ends this video. So let's just show these guys with their shaved heads. Two quite different characters actually. Looking good. Be back with what we're going to do next. Oh, I think I'm going to be doing the bluey stuff around his wrist. Fairly straightforward. So yeah, there you go.